2 Kings 5. Now Naaman, commander of the army of the king of Syria, was a great and honorable man in the eyes of his master, because by him the Lord had given victory to Syria. He was also a mighty man of valor, but a leper. Now Naaman, captain of the host of the king of Syria, was a great man with his master, and honorable, because by him the Lord had given deliverance unto Syria. He was also a mighty man in valor, but he was a leper. And the Syrians had gone out on raids, and had brought back captive a young girl from the land of Israel. She waited on Naaman's wife. And the Syrians had gone out by companies, and had brought away captive out of the land of Israel a little maid, and she waited on Naaman's wife. Then she said to her mistress, If only my master were with the prophet who is in Samaria, for he would heal him of his leprosy. And she said unto her mistress, Would God my Lord were with the prophet that is in Samaria, for he would recover him of his leprosy. And Naaman went in and told his master, saying, Thus and thus said the girl who is from the land of Israel. And one went in, and told his lord, saying, Thus and thus said the maid that is of the land of Israel. Then the king of Syria said, Go now, and I will send a letter to the king of Israel. So he departed and took with him 10 talents of silver, 6,000 shekels of gold, and 10 changes of clothing. And the king of Syria said, Go, and I will send a letter unto the king of Israel. And he departed, and took with him 10 talents of silver, and 6,000 pieces of gold, and 10 changes of raiment. Then he brought the letter to the king of Israel, which said, For now be advised, when this letter comes to you, that I have sent Naaman my servant to you, that you may heal him of his leprosy. And he brought the letter to the king of Israel, saying, Now when this letter is come unto thee, behold, I have therewith sent Naaman my servant to thee, that thou mayest recover him of his leprosy. And it happened, when the king of Israel read the letter, that he tore his clothes and said, Am I God, to kill and make alive, that this man sends a man to me to heal him of his leprosy? Therefore please consider, and see how he seeks a quarrel with me. And it came to pass, when the king of Israel had read the letter, that he rent his clothes, and said, Am I God, to kill and to make alive, that this man doth send unto me to recover a man of his leprosy? Wherefore consider, I pray you, and see how he seeketh a quarrel against me. So it was, when Elisha the man of God heard that the king of Israel had torn his clothes, that he sent to the king, saying, Why have you torn your clothes? Please let him come to me, and he shall know that there is a prophet in Israel. And it was so, when Elisha the man of God had heard that the king of Israel had rent his clothes, that he sent to the king, saying, Wherefore hast thou rent thy clothes? Let him come now to me, and he shall know that there is a prophet in Israel. Then Naaman went with his horses and chariot, and he stood at the door of Elisha's house. So Naaman came with his horses and with his chariot, and stood at the door of the house of Elisha. And Elisha sent a messenger to him, saying, Go and wash in the Jordan 7 times, and your flesh shall be restored to you, and you shall be clean. And Elisha sent a messenger unto him, saying, Go and wash in Jordan 7 times, and thy flesh shall come again to thee, and thou shalt be clean. But Naaman became furious, and went away and said, Indeed, I said to myself, He will surely come out to me, and stand and call on the name of the Lord his God, and wave his hand over the place, and heal the leprosy. But Naaman was wroth, and went away, and said, Behold, I thought, he will surely come out to me, and stand, and call on the name of the Lord his God, and strike his hand over the place, and recover the leper. Are not the Abana and the Pharpar, the rivers of Damascus, better than all the waters of Israel? Could I not wash in them and be clean? So he turned and went away in a rage. Are not Abana and Pharpar, rivers of Damascus, better than all the waters of Israel? May I not wash in them, and be clean? So he turned and went away in a rage. And his servants came near and spoke to him, and said, My father, if the prophet had told you to do something great, would you not have done it? How much more then, when he says to you, Wash, and be clean? And his servants came near, and spake unto him, and said, My father, if the prophet had bid thee do some great thing, wouldest thou not have done it? How much rather then, when he saith to thee, Wash, and be clean? So he went down and dipped 7 times in the Jordan, according to the saying of the man of God, and his flesh was restored like the flesh of a little child, and he was clean. Then went he down, and dipped himself 7 times in Jordan, according to the saying of the man of God, and his flesh came again like unto the flesh of a little child, and he was clean. And he returned to the man of God, he and all his aides, and came and stood before him, and he said, Indeed, now I know that there is no God in all the earth, except in Israel. Now therefore, please take a gift from your servant. And he returned to the man of God, he and all his company, and came, and stood before him, and he said, Behold, now I know that there is no God in all the earth, but in Israel. Now therefore, I pray thee, take a blessing of thy servant. But he said, As the Lord lives, before whom I stand, I will receive nothing. And he urged him to take it, but he refused. But he said, As the Lord liveth, before whom I stand, I will receive none. And he urged him to take it, but he refused. So Naaman said, Then, if not, please let your servant be given 2 mule loads of earth, for your servant will no longer offer either burnt offering or sacrifice to other gods, but to the Lord. And Naaman said, Shall there not then, I pray thee, be given to thy servant 2 mules burden of earth? For thy servant will henceforth offer neither burnt offering nor sacrifice unto other gods, but unto the Lord. Yet in this thing may the Lord pardon your servant, when my master goes into the temple of Rimmon to worship there, and he leans on my hand, and I bow down in the temple of Rimmon. When I bow down in the temple of Rimmon, may the Lord please pardon your servant in this thing. In this thing the Lord pardon thy servant, that when my master goeth into the house of Rimmon to worship there, and he leaneth on my hand, and I bow myself in the house of Rimmon, when I bow down myself in the house of Rimmon, the Lord pardon thy servant in this thing. Then he said to him, Go in peace. So he departed from him a short distance. And he said unto him, Go in peace. So he departed from him a little way. But Gehazi, the servant of Elisha the man of God, said, Look, my master has spared Naaman this Syrian, while not receiving from his hands what he brought, but as the Lord lives, I will run after him and take something from him. But Gehazi, the servant of Elisha the man of God, said, Behold, my master hath spared Naaman this Syrian, in not receiving at his hands that which he brought, but, as the Lord liveth, I will run after him, and take somewhat of him. So Gehazi pursued Naaman. When Naaman saw him running after him, he got down from the chariot to meet him, and said, Is all well? So Gehazi followed after Naaman. And when Naaman saw him running after him, he lighted down from the chariot to meet him, and said, Is all well? And he said, All is well. My master has sent me, saying, Indeed, just now 2 young men of the sons of the prophets have come to me from the mountains of Ephraim. Please give them a talent of silver and 2 changes of garments. And he said, All is well. My master hath sent me, saying, Behold, even now there be come to me from Mount Ephraim 2 young men of the sons of the prophets. Give them, I pray thee, a talent of silver, and 2 changes of garments. So Naaman said, Please, take 2 talents. And he urged him, and bound 2 talents of silver in 2 bags, with 2 changes of garments, and handed them to 2 of his servants, and they carried them on ahead of him. And Naaman said, Be content, take 2 talents. And he urged him, and bound 2 talents of silver in 2 bags, with 2 changes of garments, and laid them upon 2 of his servants, and they bare them before him. When he came to the citadel, he took them from their hand, and stored them away in the house. Then he let the men go, and they departed. And when he came to the tower, he took them from their hand, and bestowed them in the house, and he let the men go, and they departed. Now he went in and stood before his master. Elisha said to him, Where did you go, Gehazi? And he said, Your servant did not go anywhere. But he went in, and stood before his master. And Elisha said unto him, Whence comest thou, Gehazi? And he said, Thy servant went no whither. Then he said to him, Did not my heart go with you when the man turned back from his chariot to meet you? Is it time to receive money and to receive clothing, olive groves and vineyards, sheep and oxen, male and female servants? And he said unto him, Went not mine heart with thee, when the man turned again from his chariot to meet thee? Is it a time to receive money, and to receive garments, and oliveyards, and vineyards, and sheep, and oxen, and menservants, and maidservants? Therefore the leprosy of Naaman shall cling to you and your descendants forever. And he went out from his presence leprous, as white as snow. The leprosy therefore of Naaman shall cleave unto thee, and unto thy seed forever. And he went out from his presence a leper as white as snow. 2Kings 6. And the sons of the prophets said to Elisha, See now, the place where we dwell with you is too small for us. And the sons of the prophets said unto Elisha, Behold now, the place where we dwell with thee is too strait for us. Please, let us go to the Jordan, and let every man take a beam from there, and let us make there a place where we may dwell. So he answered, Go. Let us go, we pray thee, unto Jordan, and take thence every man a beam, and let us make us a place there, where we may dwell. And he answered, Go ye. Then one said, Please consent to go with your servants. And he answered, I will go. And one said, Be content, I pray thee, and go with thy servants. And he answered, I will go. So he went with them. And when they came to the Jordan, they cut down trees. So he went with them. And when they came to Jordan, they cut down wood. But as one was cutting down a tree, the iron axe head fell into the water, and he cried out and said, Alas, master! For it was borrowed. But as one was felling a beam, the axe head fell into the water, and he cried, and said, Alas, master! For it was borrowed. So the man of God said, Where did it fall? And he showed him the place. So he cut off a stick, and threw it in there, and he made the iron float. And the man of God said, Where fell it? And he shewed him the place. And he cut down a stick, and cast it in thither, and the iron did swim. Therefore he said, Pick it up for yourself. So he reached out his hand and took it. Therefore said he, Take it up to thee. And he put out his hand, and took it. Now the king of Syria was making war against Israel, and he consulted with his servants, saying, My camp will be in such and such a place. Then the king of Syria warred against Israel, and took counsel with his servants, saying, In such and such a place shall be my camp. And the man of God sent to the king of Israel, saying, Beware that you do not pass this place, for the Syrians are coming down there. And the man of God sent unto the king of Israel, saying, Beware that thou pass not such a place, for thither the Syrians are come down. Then the king of Israel sent someone to the place of which the man of God had told him. Thus he warned him, and he was watchful there, not just once or twice. And the king of Israel sent to the place which the man of God told him and warned him of, and saved himself there, not once nor twice. Therefore the heart of the king of Syria was greatly troubled by this thing, and he called his servants and said to them, Will you not show me which of us is for the king of Israel? Therefore the heart of the king of Syria was sore troubled for this thing, and he called his servants, and said unto them, Will ye not shew me which of us is for the king of Israel? And one of his servants said, None, my lord, O king, but Elisha, the prophet who is in Israel, tells the king of Israel the words that you speak in your bedroom. And one of his servants said, None, my lord, O king, but Elisha, the prophet that is in Israel, telleth the king of Israel the words that thou speakest in thy bedchamber. So he said, Go, and see where he is, that I may send and get him. And it was told him, saying, Surely he is in Dothan. And he said, Go, and spy where he is, that I may send and fetch him. And it was told him, saying, Behold, he is in Dothan. Therefore he sent horses and chariots and a great army there, and they came by night and surrounded the city. Therefore sent he thither horses, and chariots, and a great host, and they came by night, and compassed the city about. And when the servant of the man of God arose early and went out, there was an army, surrounding the city with horses and chariots. And his servant said to him, Alas, my master! What shall we do? And when the servant of the man of God was risen early, and gone forth, behold, an host compassed the city both with horses and chariots. And his servant said unto him, Alas, my master! How shall we do? So he answered, Do not fear, for those who are with us are more than those who are with them. And he answered, Fear not, for they that be with us are more than they that be with them. And Elisha prayed, and said, Lord, I pray, open his eyes that he may see. Then the Lord opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw. And behold, the mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire all around Elisha. And Elisha prayed, and said, Lord, I pray thee, open his eyes, that he may see. And the Lord opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw, and, behold, the mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire round about Elisha. So when the Syrians came down to him, Elisha prayed to the Lord, and said, Strike this people, I pray, with blindness. And he struck them with blindness according to the word of Elisha. And when they came down to him, Elisha prayed unto the Lord, and said, Smite this people, I pray thee, with blindness. And he smote them with blindness according to the word of Elisha. Now Elisha said to them, This is not the way, nor is this the city. Follow me, and I will bring you to the man whom you seek. But he led them to Samaria. And Elisha said unto them, This is not the way, neither is this the city, follow me, and I will bring you to the man whom ye seek. But he led them to Samaria. So it was, when they had come to Samaria, that Elisha said, Lord, open the eyes of these men, that they may see. And the Lord opened their eyes, and they saw, and there they were, inside Samaria. And it came to pass, when they were come into Samaria, that Elisha said, Lord, open the eyes of these men, that they may see. And the Lord opened their eyes, and they saw, and, behold, they were in the midst of Samaria. Now when the king of Israel saw them, he said to Elisha, My father, shall I kill them? Shall I kill them? And the king of Israel said unto Elisha, when he saw them, My father, shall I smite them? Shall I smite them? But he answered, You shall not kill them. Would you kill those whom you have taken captive with your sword and your bow? Set food and water before them, that they may eat and drink and go to their master. And he answered, Thou shalt not smite them, wouldest thou smite those whom thou hast taken captive with thy sword and with thy bow? Set bread and water before them, that they may eat and drink, and go to their master. Then he prepared a great feast for them, and after they ate and drank, he sent them away and they went to their master. So the bands of Syrian raiders came no more into the land of Israel. And he prepared great provision for them, and when they had eaten and drunk, he sent them away, and they went to their master. So the bands of Syria came no more into the land of Israel. And it happened after this that Benhadad king of Syria gathered all his army, and went up and besieged Samaria. And it came to pass after this, that Benhadad king of Syria gathered all his host, and went up, and besieged Samaria. And there was a great famine in Samaria, and indeed they besieged it until a donkey's head was sold for 80 shekels of silver, and 1/4 of a cab of dove droppings for 5 shekels of silver. And there was a great famine in Samaria, and, behold, they besieged it, until an ass's head was sold for 80 pieces of silver, and the 4th part of a cab of dove's dung for 5 pieces of silver. Then, as the king of Israel was passing by on the wall, a woman cried out to him, saying, Help, my lord, O king. And as the king of Israel was passing by upon the wall, there cried a woman unto him, saying, Help, my lord, O king. And he said, If the Lord does not help you, where can I find help for you? From the threshing floor or from the winepress? And he said, If the Lord do not help thee, whence shall I help thee? Out of the barn floor, or out of the winepress? Then the king said to her, What is troubling you? And she answered, This woman said to me, Give your son, that we may eat him today, and we will eat my son tomorrow. And the king said unto her, What aileth thee? And she answered, This woman said unto me, Give thy son, that we may eat him today, and we will eat my son tomorrow. So we boiled my son, and ate him. And I said to her on the next day, Give your son, that we may eat him, but she has hidden her son. So we boiled my son, and did eat him, and I said unto her on the next day, Give thy son, that we may eat him, and she hath hid her son. Now it happened, when the king heard the words of the woman, that he tore his clothes, and as he passed by on the wall, the people looked, and there underneath he had sackcloth on his body. And it came to pass, when the king heard the words of the woman, that he rent his clothes, and he passed by upon the wall, and the people looked, and, behold, he had sackcloth within upon his flesh. Then he said, God do so to me and more also, if the head of Elisha the son of Shaphat remains on him today. Then he said, God do so and more also to me, if the head of Elisha the son of Shaphat shall stand on him this day. But Elisha was sitting in his house, and the elders were sitting with him. And the king sent a man ahead of him, but before the messenger came to him, he said to the elders, "Do you see how this son of a murderer has sent someone to take away my head? Look, when the messenger comes, shut the door, and hold him fast at the door. Is not the sound of his master's feet behind him?" But Elisha sat in his house, and the elders sat with him, and the king sent a man from before him, but ere the messenger came to him, he said to the elders, "See ye how this son of a murderer hath sent to take away mine head? Look, when the messenger cometh, shut the door, and hold him fast at the door. Is not the sound of his master's feet behind him?" And while he was still talking with them, there was the messenger, coming down to him, and then the king said, "Surely this calamity is from the Lord, why should I wait for the Lord any longer?" And while he yet talked with them, behold, the messenger came down unto him, and he said, "Behold, this evil is of the Lord, what should I wait for the Lord any longer?" Matthew 26. Now it came to pass, when Jesus had finished all these sayings, that he said to his disciples. And it came to pass, when Jesus had finished all these sayings, he said unto his disciples, "You know that after 2 days is the Passover, and the Son of Man will be delivered up to be crucified. Ye know that after 2 days is the feast of the Passover, and the Son of Man is betrayed to be crucified." Then the chief priests, the scribes, and the elders of the people assembled at the palace of the high priest, who was called Caiaphas. Then assembled together the chief priests, and the scribes, and the elders of the people, unto the palace of the high priest, who was called Caiaphas, and plotted to take Jesus by trickery and kill him. And consulted that they might take Jesus by subtlety, and kill him. But they said, Not during the feast, lest there be an uproar among the people. But they said, Not on the feast day, lest there be an uproar among the people. And when Jesus was in Bethany at the house of Simon the leper. Now when Jesus was in Bethany, in the house of Simon the leper, a woman came to him having an alabaster flask of very costly fragrant oil, and she poured it on his head as he sat at the table. There came unto him a woman having an alabaster box of very precious ointment, and poured it on his head, as he sat at meat. But when his disciples saw it, they were indignant, saying, Why this waste? But when his disciples saw it, they had indignation, saying, To what purpose is this waste? For this fragrant oil might have been sold for much and given to the poor. For this ointment might have been sold for much, and given to the poor. But when Jesus was aware of it, he said to them, Why do you trouble the woman? For she has done a good work for me. When Jesus understood it, he said unto them, Why trouble ye the woman? For she hath wrought a good work upon me. For you have the poor with you always, but me you do not have always. For ye have the poor always with you, but me ye have not always. For in pouring this fragrant oil on my body, she did it for my burial. For in that she hath poured this ointment on my body, she did it for my burial. Assuredly, I say to you, wherever this gospel is preached in the whole world, what this woman has done will also be told as a memorial to her. Verily I say unto you, wheresoever this gospel shall be preached in the whole world, there shall also this, that this woman hath done, be told for a memorial of her. Then one of the 12, called Judas Iscariot, went to the chief priests. Then one of the 12, called Judas Iscariot, went unto the chief priests, and said, What are you willing to give me if I deliver him to you? And they counted out to him 30 pieces of silver. And said unto them, What will ye give me, and I will deliver him unto you? And they covenanted with him for 30 pieces of silver. So from that time he sought opportunity to betray him. And from that time he sought opportunity to betray him. Now on the first day of the feast of the unleavened bread the disciples came to Jesus, saying to him, Where do you want us to prepare for you to eat the Passover? Now the first day of the feast of unleavened bread the disciples came to Jesus, saying unto him, Where wilt thou that we prepare for thee to eat the Passover? And he said, Go into the city to a certain man, and say to him, The teacher says, My time is at hand, I will keep the Passover at your house with my disciples. And he said, Go into the city to such a man, and say unto him, The master saith, My time is at hand, I will keep the Passover at thy house with my disciples. So the disciples did as Jesus had directed them, and they prepared the Passover. And the disciples did as Jesus had appointed them, and they made ready the Passover. When evening had come, he sat down with the 12. Now when the even was come, he sat down with the 12. Now as they were eating, he said, Assuredly, I say to you, one of you will betray me. And as they did eat, he said, Verily I say unto you, that one of you shall betray me. And they were exceedingly sorrowful, and each of them began to say to him, Lord, is it I? And they were exceeding sorrowful, and began every one of them to say unto him, Lord, is it I? He answered and said, He who dipped his hand with me in the dish will betray me. And he answered and said, He that dippeth his hand with me in the dish, the same shall betray me. The Son of Man indeed goes just as it is written of him, but woe to that man by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. It would have been good for that man if he had not been born. The Son of Man goeth as it is written of him, but woe unto that man by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. It had been good for that man if he had not been born. Then Judas, who was betraying him, answered and said, Rabbi, is it I? He said to him, You have said it. Then Judas, which betrayed him, answered and said, Master, is it I? He said unto him, Thou hast said. And as they were eating, Jesus took bread, blessed and broke it, and gave it to the disciples and said, Take, eat, this is my body. And as they were eating, Jesus took bread, and blessed it, and brake it, and gave it to the disciples, and said, Take, eat, this is my body. Then he took the cup, and gave thanks, and gave it to them, saying, Drink from it, all of you. And he took the cup, and gave thanks, and gave it to them, saying, Drink ye all of it. For this is my blood of the new covenant, which is shed for many for the remission of sins. For this is my blood of the New Testament, which is shed for many for the remission of sins. But I say to you, I will not drink of this fruit of the vine from now on until that day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom. But I say unto you, I will not drink henceforth of this fruit of the vine, until that day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom. And when they had sung a hymn, they went out to the Mount of Olives. And when they had sung an hymn, they went out into the Mount of Olives. Then Jesus said to them, All of you will be made to stumble because of me this night, for it is written, I will strike the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock will be scattered. Then saith Jesus unto them, All ye shall be offended because of me this night, for it is written, I will smite the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock shall be scattered abroad. But after I have been raised, I will go before you to Galilee. But after I am risen again, I will go before you into Galilee. Peter answered and said to him, Even if all are made to stumble because of you, I will never be made to stumble. Peter answered and said unto him, Though all men shall be offended because of thee, yet will I never be offended. Jesus said to him, Assuredly, I say to you that this night, before the rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times. Jesus said unto him, Verily I say unto thee, that this night, before the cock crow, thou shalt deny me thrice. Peter said to him, Even if I have to die with you, I will not deny you. And so said all the disciples. Peter said unto him, Though I should die with thee, yet will I not deny thee. Likewise also said all the disciples. Then Jesus came with them to a place called Gethsemane, and said to the disciples, Sit here while I go and pray over there. Then cometh Jesus with them unto a place called Gethsemane, and saith unto the disciples, Sit ye here, while I go and pray yonder. And he took with him Peter and the 2 sons of Zebedee, and he began to be sorrowful and deeply distressed. And he took with him Peter and the 2 sons of Zebedee, and began to be sorrowful and very heavy. Then he said to them, My soul is exceedingly sorrowful, even to death. Stay here and watch with me. Then saith he unto them, My soul is exceeding sorrowful, even unto death, tarry ye here, and watch with me. He went a little farther and fell on his face, and prayed, saying, O my Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me, nevertheless, not as I will, but as you will. And he went a little farther, and fell on his face, and prayed, saying, O my Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me, nevertheless not as I will, but as thou wilt. Then he came to the disciples and found them sleeping, and said to Peter, What? Could you not watch with me 1 hour? And he cometh unto the disciples, and findeth them asleep, and saith unto Peter, What, could ye not watch with me 1 hour? Watch and pray, lest you enter into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. Watch and pray, that ye enter not into temptation, the spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. Again, a second time, he went away and prayed, saying, O my Father, if this cup cannot pass away from me unless I drink it, your will be done. He went away again the second time and prayed, saying, O my Father, if this cup may not pass away from me, except I drink it, thy will be done. And he came and found them asleep again, for their eyes were heavy. And he came and found them asleep again, for their eyes were heavy. So he left them, went away again, and prayed the third time, saying the same words. And he left them, and went away again, and prayed the third time, saying the same words. Then he came to his disciples and said to them, Are you still sleeping and resting? Behold, the hour is at hand, and the Son of Man is being betrayed into the hands of sinners. Then cometh he to his disciples, and saith unto them, Sleep on now, and take your rest. Behold, the hour is at hand, and the Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. Rise, let us be going. See, my betrayer is at hand. Rise, let us be going, behold, he is at hand that doth betray me. And while he was still speaking, behold, Judas, one of the 12, with a great multitude with swords and clubs, came from the chief priests and elders of the people. And while he yet spake, lo, Judas, one of the 12, came, and with him a great multitude with swords and staves, from the chief priests and elders of the people. Now his betrayer had given them a sign, saying, Whomever I kiss, he is the one, seize him. Now he that betrayed him gave them a sign, saying, Whomsoever I shall kiss, that same is he, hold him fast. Immediately he went up to Jesus and said, Greetings, Rabbi, and kissed him. And forthwith he came to Jesus, and said, Hail, Master, and kissed him. But Jesus said to him, Friend, why have you come? Then they came and laid hands on Jesus and took him. And Jesus said unto him, Friend, wherefore art thou come? Then came they, and laid hands on Jesus, and took him. And suddenly, one of those who were with Jesus stretched out his hand and drew his sword, struck the servant of the high priest, and cut off his ear. And, behold, one of them which were with Jesus stretched out his hand, and drew his sword, and struck a servant of the high priest's, and smote off his ear. But Jesus said to him, Put your sword in its place, for all who take the sword will perish by the sword. Then said Jesus unto him, Put up again thy sword into his place, for all they that take the sword shall perish with the sword. Or do you think that I cannot now pray to my Father, and he will provide me with more than 12 legions of angels? Thinkest thou that I cannot now pray to my Father, and he shall presently give me more than 12 legions of angels? How then could the Scriptures be fulfilled, that it must happen thus? But how then shall the Scriptures be fulfilled, that thus it must be? In that hour Jesus said to the multitudes, Have you come out, as against a robber, with swords and clubs to take me? I sat daily with you, teaching in the temple, and you did not seize me. In that same hour said Jesus to the multitudes, Are ye come out as against a thief with swords and staves for to take me? I sat daily with you teaching in the temple, and ye laid no hold on me. But all this was done that the Scriptures of the prophets might be fulfilled. Then all the disciples forsook him and fled. But all this was done, that the Scriptures of the prophets might be fulfilled. Then all the disciples forsook him and fled. And those who had laid hold of Jesus led him away to Caiaphas the high priest, where the scribes and the elders were assembled. And they that had laid hold on Jesus led him away to Caiaphas the high priest, where the scribes and the elders were assembled. But Peter followed him at a distance to the high priest's courtyard. And he went in and sat with the servants to see the end. But Peter followed him afar off unto the high priest's palace, and went in, and sat with the servants, to see the end. Now the chief priests, the elders, and all the council sought false testimony against Jesus to put him to death. Now the chief priests, and elders, and all the council, sought false witness against Jesus, to put him to death. But found none. Even though many false witnesses came forward, they found none. But at last 2 false witnesses came forward. But found none, yea, though many false witnesses came, yet found they none. At the last came 2 false witnesses. And said, This fellow said, I am able to destroy the temple of God and to build it in 3 days. And said, This fellow said, I am able to destroy the temple of God, and to build it in 3 days. And the high priest arose and said to him, Do you answer nothing? What is it these men testify against you? And the high priest arose, and said unto him, Answerest thou nothing? What is it which these witness against thee? But Jesus kept silent. And the high priest answered and said to him, I put you under oath by the living God, tell us if you are the Christ, the Son of God. But Jesus held his peace. And the high priest answered and said unto him, I adjure thee by the living God, that thou tell us whether thou be the Christ, the Son of God. Jesus said to him, It is as you said. Nevertheless, I say to you, hereafter you will see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of the power, and coming on the clouds of heaven. Jesus saith unto him, Thou hast said, Nevertheless I say unto you, hereafter shall ye see the Son of Man sitting on the right hand of power, and coming in the clouds of heaven. Then the high priest tore his clothes, saying, He has spoken blasphemy. What further need do we have of witnesses? Look, now you have heard his blasphemy. Then the high priest rent his clothes, saying, He hath spoken blasphemy, what further need have we of witnesses? Behold, now ye have heard his blasphemy. What do you think? They answered and said, He is deserving of death. What think ye? They answered and said, He is guilty of death. Then they spat in his face and beat him, and others struck him with the palms of their hands. Then did they spit in his face, and buffeted him, and others smote him with the palms of their hands, saying, Prophesy to us, Christ. Who is the one who struck you? Saying, Prophesy unto us, thou Christ, who is he that smote thee? Now Peter sat outside in the courtyard. And a servant girl came to him, saying, You also were with Jesus of Galilee. Now Peter sat without in the palace, and a damsel came unto him, saying, Thou also wast with Jesus of Galilee. But he denied it before them all, saying, I do not know what you are saying. But he denied before them all, saying, I know not what thou sayest. And when he had gone out to the gateway, another girl saw him and said to those who were there, This fellow also was with Jesus of Nazareth. And when he was gone out into the porch, another maid saw him, and said unto them that were there, This fellow was also with Jesus of Nazareth. But again he denied with an oath, I do not know the man. And again he denied with an oath, I do not know the man. And a little later those who stood by came up and said to Peter, Surely you also are one of them, for your speech betrays you. And after a while came unto him they that stood by, and said to Peter, Surely thou also art one of them, for thy speech bewrayeth thee. Then he began to curse and swear, saying, I do not know the man. Immediately a rooster crowed. Then began he to curse and to swear, saying, I know not the man. And immediately the cock crew. And Peter remembered the word of Jesus who had said to him, Before the rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times. So he went out and wept bitterly. And Peter remembered the word of Jesus, which said unto him, Before the cock crow, thou shalt deny me thrice. And he went out, and wept bitterly. Proverbs 9. Wisdom has built her house, she has hewn out her 7 pillars. Wisdom hath builded her house, she hath hewn out her 7 pillars. She has slaughtered her meat, she has mixed her wine, she has also furnished her table. She hath killed her beasts, she hath mingled her wine, she hath also furnished her table. She has sent out her maidens, she cries out from the highest places of the city. She hath sent forth her maidens, she crieth upon the highest places of the city. Whoever is simple, let him turn in here. As for him who lacks understanding, she says to him, Whoso is simple, let him turn in hither. As for him that wanteth understanding, she saith to him, Come, eat of my bread and drink of the wine I have mixed. Come, eat of my bread, and drink of the wine which I have mingled. Forsake foolishness and live, and go in the way of understanding. Forsake the foolish, and live, and go in the way of understanding. He who corrects a scoffer gets shame for himself, and he who rebukes a wicked man only harms himself. He that reproveth a scorner getteth to himself shame, and he that rebuketh a wicked man getteth himself a blot. Do not correct a scoffer, lest he hate you, rebuke a wise man, and he will love you. Reprove not a scorner, lest he hate thee, rebuke a wise man, and he will love thee. Give instruction to a wise man, and he will be still wiser. teach a just man, and he will increase in learning. Give instruction to a wise man, and he will be yet wiser, teach a just man, and he will increase in learning. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the Holy is understanding. For by me your days will be multiplied, and years of life will be added to you. For by me thy days shall be multiplied, and the years of thy life shall be increased. If you are wise for yourself, and if you scoff, you will bear it alone. If thou be wise, thou shalt be wise for thyself, but if thou scornest, thou alone shalt bear it. A foolish woman is clamorous, she is simple, and knows nothing. A foolish woman is clamorous, she is simple, and knoweth nothing. For she sits at the door of her house, on a seat by the highest places of the city. For she sitteth at the door of her house, on a seat in the high places of the city. To call to those who pass by, who go straight on their way. To call passengers who go right on their ways. Whoever is simple, let him turn and hear, and as for him who lacks understanding, she says to him. Whoso is simple, let him turn in hither, and as for him that wanteth understanding, she saith to him. Stolen water is sweet, and bread eaten in secret is pleasant. Stolen waters are sweet, and bread eaten in secret is pleasant. But he does not know that the dead are there, that her guests are in the depths of hell. But he knoweth not that the dead are there, and that her guests are in the depths of hell.